Hey guys, this week we're discussing a pretty contentious issue, which is page 3 and campaigns to get page 3 banned. So let's get to it. For those of you who don't know, page 3 refers to the infamous third page of a British tabloid paper, The Sun. When Rupert Murdoch launched The Sun in 1969, he decided that on page 3 of every issue there would be a racy photo of a woman. As of 1970, the models began to appear topless. The photos used to be accompanied by a cheesy bad innuendo, before they simply changed to being accompanied by the girls' names, ages and hometowns. Under Rebecca Brooks' editorship, the feature became called News in Brief. See what they did there? And each model was accompanied by a quote that related to a current event. For example, at the time of recording, the last tagline read, "Sabine was dismayed to hear a teenage girl was heckled during her speech to the Labour Party conference. She said, it shows a shocking lack of respect by those who ought to know better. As the French moralist Joseph Joubert once wrote, politeness is the flower of humanity." I am with Sabine on that, but various critics have argued that the taglines are most probably written by a member of the Sun's team due to their pretty much constant right-wing bias, and the punchline of this supposedly being that women can't be sexy and smart. Hilarious. I don't know entirely what I think about page 3 and how I feel about it. I have a lot of mixed feelings. I think that page 3 is crappy because it is a very old and sexist tradition instituted by men in a sexist time when they viewed women, and specifically these models, as nothing more than sexual objects created for their viewing pleasure. I do not think the Sun treat their models respectfully because the hilarious News in Brief quotes just sound like they're taking the piss, and that is not a cool thing to do. They also refer to them frequently as girls. These are women, the Sun, so please stop patronising and infantilising them. I can see how page 3 feeds into a wider societal pressure on women to act or seem sexually available all of the time, and how it reaffirms the message that sexiness is a woman's most important value. I also think it's not cool from the perspective of guys reading this in public and making women around them feel uncomfortable or uneasy. Knowing the guy on the train opposite you is staring at porn and getting aroused could be, I think, really threatening for women, especially given the high rates of sexual assault we face. If you know he's looking at women or pictures of women in a sexual way and getting turned on by them, what's to stop him from staring at you in a similar and unwanted way? On top of that, I do feel that a newspaper is not the appropriate place for pornography. It's not that nudity is inappropriate, because it's not. I'd be totally fine with nudity in a paper, but page 3 literally is and was there just so men can have something to get off to. And newspapers should have news and interesting commentary and not a sexist relic from the past, which harks back to an era when heterosexual men's sexuality was the only sexuality worth anything. As I said, it's not that nudity is inappropriate. There is nothing inappropriate about human bodies, and I'm sure women do feel individually empowered by nude modelling, and that is so awesome. But as far as I can tell, page 3 reiterates the same tired and oppressive beauty standards that beat us around the head daily, which pretty much every type of media constantly reaffirms. While all these women are beautiful and they do have beautiful bodies, page 3 only presents one type of body as being sexy, and that is a body that fits Western beauty standards as closely as possible, and it is a body that the majority of women do not have, and we already know that beauty standards are a crappy thing in general, so the Sun is really just perpetuating that. The page isn't a celebration of women's sexiness, it's a portrayal of the only kind of body which counts as sexy in our culture. I also think that maybe it's kind of telling. I just said it portrays the only kind of body that counts as sexy, rather than the only kind of person that counts as sexy. But glamour modelling or nude modelling or porn or sex work of any kind is not wrong. It is not. Women can do with their bodies as they wish, and I will 100% support them in whatever they do. Sex work is not wrong, it's not anti-feminist, and yes, I think there are big problems with the sex industry that we urgently need to address because it's putting sex workers at risk in a lot of different ways. But ladies, if you want to be glamour models or nude models or work in porn, then fucking go for it. I will campaign with you to make sure that you receive good pay, legal protection, workers' rights, an awesome union, and I will fight with you to make sure that the industry you're working in does not try to exploit you or push you into anything. And if anyone tries to shame you about your choice of work, I will help you beat the crap out of them. Plenty of women do freely choose to be involved in sex work, and to deny that and portray them as their profession as wrong is really patronising and insulting. It's also when we shame sex work and label it as wrong that sex work is more likely to be forced underground and farther away from regulation and protection. When you call sex work wrong or shameful or insult sex workers or nude models of any kind, then you put them in danger by making them justifiably too concerned about the stigma of their job to access any help or protection should they need it. It is also generally crappy to be an asshole about someone's personal decisions to do with their life and their body, which, by the way, are none of your beeswax. Holly's fantastic video also makes the really valid point that why are we only concerned with potential sexism in working class publications? There is shitloads of sexism and nudity and basically soft porn in publications marketed to the middle class. Like, have you guys ever read GQ or like Cosmo? Why are we only concerned when it's a working class publication? Because of classism! Not okay! Sex work is complicated and it encompasses all these different things and all these different experiences and narratives, and we need to start having grown-up dialogues about it rather than shouting and denouncing it as inherently degrading. Yes, lots of mainstream porn, I would agree, is often really crappy and sexist. No, that doesn't mean sex work or nude modelling or whatever is inherently degrading. Yes, sex work can be exploitative and awful and can involve horrible things such as sex trafficking and child pornography and wildly mistreating sex workers of all kinds, and that is something that we need to fight against. No, that does not mean that every single sex worker is a victim who has been forced into the industry and needs rescuing. There have been numerous campaigns going on to end page 3, and I have beef with them for basically contributing to the shaming of sex workers. A lot of these campaigns, I feel, have taken on said shaming tone, and that makes me really angry. The latest campaign, entitled No More Page 3, I think plays into this. There is a petition running on change.org directed towards the Sun's editor, and recent comments on the petition include "Don't go around telling a woman that she is degrading herself, you patronising fucking ass." And I'm sorry, could be contributing to sexual assaults and marital rape. No, let's not blame that on page 3 models. Let's blame that on rapists who can't tell the difference between looking at a woman who has consented to people looking at pictures of her and fucking raping someone. I also believe there is nothing wrong with looking at naked people or wanting to look at pictures of naked people. I think that is a very natural sexual impulse. I just think that maybe a newspaper is not the appropriate place for that. I'm on board with this commentator that pretending that sex work is a universally great experience for every woman is wrong, because there are women who do not want to do it or have done it and not enjoyed it, and nobody should feel pressured into entering the industry. But come on, man, seriously, way to make sex workers out to be like super evil and stupid. If young women do want to model nude and earn money for that, so long as they're legally adults and not being taken advantage of, why can they not do that? Why do you get a right to tell them no? In conclusion, seriously, what do you guys think? Because I am all confused and mixed up about this. I will not get behind campaigns that themselves objectify and patronise the models involved, but I also think that page 3 is a tired sexist tradition and that the place for soft porn is in a soft porn magazine and not a national newspaper. Is there a happy equilibrium here?